Welcome to UNC Chapel Hill's Campus Security Authority training. This training will provide you with information about your responsibilities as a Campus Security Authority under the Clery Act. Once you have finished this webinar, there is also a short quiz that must be completed. Please note that the webinar includes mention of sex offenses and other issues which may be challenging to hear. Please take care of yourselves and feel free to utilize the support resources described in the webinar as needed. The Jean Clery Campus Security and Crime Statistics Act is a federal public information law that focuses on campus safety. It is named in honor of Jean Clery, who was murdered in her dorm room at Lehigh University in 1986. After her death, her parents advocated for requiring college campuses to share information about crime that occurs on or near campus and about policies and procedures related to campus safety. The Clery Act was passed in 1990 and is enforced by the U.S. Department of Education. There are serious financial penalties for institutions that are found to be out of compliance with any of the Clery Act's requirements. All universities that receive federal financial aid dollars must comply with the Clery Act. The Clery Act requires that the university do several things. First, we must provide information about campus safety policies and programs. We must compile statistics about the frequency of certain crimes that occur on or near the Carolina campus and publish the data in an annual security report. The institution must also issue a crime alert or emergency notification when an incident that has occurred on or near campus poses a serious or ongoing threat to the campus community. We do this via our Alert Carolina notification system. The Clery Act also requires the university to designate campus security authorities, or CSAs, who are required to make a report to the Clery Compliance Coordinator whenever they become aware of a Clery qualifying crime or incident. You are completing this webinar because you have been designated as a CSA by the university based on the role and responsibilities you hold at Carolina. As we go through this webinar, we will explain why you have been designated as a CSA, what types of incidents you are required to report to the Clery Compliance Coordinator, and how to do so. As a Campus Security Authority, you are also a responsible employee with reporting obligations under the university's policy on prohibited discrimination, harassment, and related misconduct, as well as the university's Title IX policy. You will receive further information about completing that training later on from the Equal Opportunity and Compliance Office. If you have any questions about your reporting obligations in the meantime, please contact eoctraining@unc.edu. Let's begin by talking about why CSAs are needed and why your role is so very important. The Clery Act requires us to designate campus security authorities because many people impacted by crime first disclose that experience to someone outside of law enforcement. They often go to people to whom they trust or have a relationship with. Based on your role at UNC, you may be the first person at the university who hears about a crime or incident that must be reported. As such, you play a critical role in maintaining safety at Carolina. When you report an incident as a CSA, you help ensure that the person impacted gets services and support that's tailored to their needs. You're the first step in the process of caring for the person and responding to an incident. The next few slides will explain which employees at UNC have been designated as campus security authorities. The Clery Act outlines 4 categories of people who must be designated as campus security authorities under the law. The university then identifies the individuals here at Carolina who fall into each of those 4 groups. The first group that the Clery Act requires us to designate is sworn law enforcement officers. Every officer in the UNC Chapel Hill Police Department, as well as the UNC Hospital Police Department, is a CSA and makes reports to the Clery Compliance Coordinator. The second category of employees is non-sworn campus security personnel. There are several units on campus that have such staff, including Ackland Museum, Playmakers Theater, Parking and Transportation, and UNC Athletics. UNC Hospital security guards are also CSAs. The third category of CSAs includes departments that the university has designated as reporting options when a crime or incident occurs. The Equal Opportunity and Compliance Office, the Office of the Dean of Students, and Employee Management Relations are designated as places employees and students are encouraged to go to report an experience of discrimination, harassment, sexual or interpersonal violence, stalking, or other behaviors. As such, all staff members in those offices are considered campus security authorities. The UNC Police Department and UNC Hospital Police are also reporting options, though they were covered in Bullet 1. The fourth and final category of CSAs are officials with significant responsibility for student and campus activities outside of classroom instruction. This is the largest category of CSAs, and it includes staff from all across the university, including athletic directors, coaches, and player personnel, housing staff, including resident advisors, deans and department heads, academic advisors, staff across many units in student affairs, the Career Center, fraternity and sorority life, and community involvement. This is not a comprehensive list of CSAs. If you received instructions to take this training, the university has determined that your position falls into one of these 4 categories, and you have been designated as a CSA. Now that we have discussed who campus security authorities are, we will discuss the types of crimes that you are required to report. Campus security authorities are required to report to the Clery Compliance Coordinator any incidents of aggravated assault, inflicting severe injury on a person by using a weapon or personal weapons like hands and feet, arson, which is willful or malicious burning, burglary, which is unlawful entry into a structure to commit a theft or a felony, motor vehicle theft, murder or manslaughter, and robbery, which is taking property from a person by force or threat of force or harm. CSAs must also report fondling, which is unwanted touching of the sexualized parts of the body, rape, a penetrative sex offense, incest, sexual intercourse between people who are related, and statutory rape, intercourse with a person who is under the statutory age of consent. In addition to the crimes on the previous 2 slides, CSAs must also report incidents of dating violence, domestic violence, and stalking. Dating and domestic violence are both crimes of violence involving those who are or have been in an intimate relationship. Domestic violence can also involve family members. Stalking is a course of unwanted contact that causes someone to fear for their safety, the safety of others, or otherwise suffer substantial emotional distress. The Clery Act also requires CSAs to report any violations of the laws of North Carolina concerning drugs, alcohol, and weapons on campus. These violations can involve an arrest or a violation of a university policy. This includes things like underage consumption, possession of drugs or drug paraphernalia, or being in possession of a firearm on campus. You are not expected to investigate the incident being disclosed to you to determine what exactly occurred. If it sounds like it may be a crime on this list, report it so that we can ensure that the impacted person can get the help and the resources that they need. The last category of crimes that CSAs are required to report is hate crimes. Hate crimes are crimes committed against a person or property which are motivated by the victim's actual or perceived membership in a protected group. Hate crimes include all of the crimes that we have already listed, plus simple assault, larceny or theft, intimidation, and destruction of property or vandalism. Next, we will talk about where Clery crimes must occur for them to be included in the crime statistics published in the annual security report. The first category of Clery geography is on-campus property. These are buildings that the university owns or controls that are located within the geographic area of the institution, meaning here on the main campus in Chapel Hill. This includes the Pit, Wilson Library, the Seal Building, any of our parking lots, residence halls, or sporting facilities, among others. In addition to reporting Clery crimes that occur on on-campus property, you must also report those that occur on public property. The Clery Act defines public property as the streets and sidewalks that are within the UNC Chapel Hill campus or immediately adjacent to and accessible from campus. If you look at the picture on the right of the slide, the red circle covers the sidewalk in front of the building, the street, and the sidewalk on the other side of that street. All of these locations are considered public property under the Clery Act. The final category of Clery geography is non-campus property. Non-campus property is any building owned or controlled by a student organization that is officially recognized by the institution, or any building owned or controlled by the university that is frequently used by students for educational purposes and is not within the same geographic area as the institution. Examples of Clery non-campus property include any fraternity or sorority house and all of our off-campus research facilities, such as the Kannapolis Nutritional Research Center. This category also includes leased properties about how to submit a CSA report and what happens after it is received. Here is information on how to report an incident. CSAs are required to report any Clery qualifying crimes or incidents to the Clery Compliance Coordinator. This can be done by submitting an online reporting form. Here is a screenshot of where to locate the Clery Incident Report form. It can be accessed via the UNC Police homepage on the web. Click on this button shown by the red circle to access the form. Complete the form with as much information as you know. The form asks for the following information: your contact information as the employee making the report, the type of incident you are reporting, when and where it occurred if known, and who was involved. This includes the name of the affected person, the person alleged to have committed the behavior, and any witnesses. Please enter as much information as you know. If you don't have a particular piece of information, such as an exact date, you can enter unknown in that field on the form. There is also space to provide a narrative where you can include any additional information you may have. Once you submit the form, it will be routed to the Clery Compliance Coordinator, who will assess the incident to determine whether it needs to be included in the annual crime statistics. If necessary, the incident will also be shared with UNC Police to help determine the need for a crime alert or emergency notification. The Clery Compliance Coordinator will share any CSA reports that include conduct prohibited under the university's Title IX policy or the university's harassment and discrimination policy with the Equal Opportunity and Compliance Office. It is important to note that filing a CSA report does not mean that an official report has been made to law enforcement. UNC Police will not initiate a criminal investigation into incidents described in CSA reports unless the affected person asks them to do so. This includes for reports of sexual assault, dating violence, domestic violence, or stalking. Now let's take a look at some scenarios and discuss if and how these incidents should be reported to the university's Clery Compliance Coordinator. A student, Tara, comes to your office and tells you about an incident that happened a few days ago. Tara says that someone assaulted her at a party. She is crying and it is hard for you to hear and understand what she is saying. You think she said the party was off campus. You can't quite understand exactly what happened. What should you do? What Tara is describing may be a Clery reportable sex offense, and you should report what you know about this incident to the Clery Compliance Coordinator as soon as possible by filling out the online form. It is important to handle Tara's disclosure with care. You may be the first person that Tara reaches out to for help after the incident. Even though you have a responsibility to report it, it's still important to support Tara and listen to her. You don't need to investigate the incident or ask a lot of probing questions. Let Tara know that you want to help and that you and the university take what has happened very seriously. As soon as possible during the conversation, let Tara know that you have an obligation to report what she has told you to the Clery Compliance Coordinator. If Tara wants to share more details with you, knowing that you have an obligation to report the information, It is okay to engage in further discussion. It is also important to let Tara know that your reporting obligation does not mean that she will be required to participate in any university process or to file a formal police report. Remember, a CSA report does not automatically result in an investigation by UNC Police Department. If the individual wants to have the incident investigated by UNC Police, it is certainly their right to do so, but they are under no obligation if they do not wish to. Here is one example of how you could explain your reporting obligation as a campus security authority to Tara. You might say, "Thank you for telling me. I want to help you. Before you go any further, I want you to know that I am required to share any information that you tell me with the university's Clery Act Compliance Coordinator. I'm not able to keep what you tell me confidential. If you would prefer, I can tell you about some confidential resources on campus and in the community." The university offers several confidential resources for people who may have been impacted by a Clery qualifying crime or incident. These resources don't share any information with the Clery Compliance Coordinator, as they are not campus security authorities. They include campus health services, counseling and psychological services, the university ombuds, the Gender Violence Services Coordinators, and the Employee Assistance Program. There are also confidential resources available outside the university, including UNC hospitals, the Compass Center, and the Orange County Rape Crisis Center. All of these resources are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Let's take a look at another scenario. Alex, a student in the organization you advise, discloses that they have been receiving distressing emails from another student. In the emails, there are slurs and disparaging comments about Alex's faith community. Alex seems very distressed by what's happening. What should you do? You must report this incident. This could be stalking or a hate crime, intimidation. Report this incident to the Clery Compliance Coordinator using the online form as soon as you can. It's also important to let Alex know as soon as you can during the conversation that you have to report what they have told you. Respond with care to Alex's concerns and provide resources just like you would for Tara. If you would like to learn more about how to respond appropriately to a disclosure of sexual violence like Tara's, or a disclosure of interpersonal violence, stalking, or other form of identity-based harassment, sign up for a Haven training via the safe.unc.edu website. Haven is a workshop that provides attendees with the skills to listen effectively, respond compassionately, share information about their reporting obligations, and connect individuals to resources on campus and in the community. After completing Haven, participants receive a placard that they may display on their office door or residence hall room, laptop, or backpack. This visibility of trained community members helps send a message to the campus that our community cares. If you have any additional questions about your role as a campus security authority, you can contact the university's Clery Compliance Coordinator, Jenn Scott, via the information listed below. In order to complete your annual training, you must also complete the training quiz, also available in Carolina Talent.